Hi, this is Todd again. We are here today, somewhere very special. It's Arlington National Cemetery. And today's probably going to be, vast majority is going to be a walking tour, but we do have some rides here and there. So just sit back, enjoy, and I'll provide some information as I can. So let's go on our walk. Passing through the cast iron gates, you will notice they have emblems for the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. There are no emblems for the Air Force or Space Force, as those branches were after World War I, the period in which the gates were built. Field Marshal Sir John Grier Dill was born on December 25, 1881, in Lurgan, Ireland. He was a pivotal British Army leader whose influence shaped World War II efforts and the Allied cooperation between Britain and the United States. He commanded British forces in Palestine from 1936 to 1937 and the Aldershot Command from 1937 to 1939. He was knighted by King George VI in 1937. At the outbreak of World War II, Dill led I Corps in France and was promoted to general in October 1939. From 1941 to 1944, he was instrumental in cementing Anglo-American military collaboration, working closely with U.S. Chief of Staff George C. Marshall. His diplomacy earned Roosevelt's praise as the most important figure in the remarkable accord between the U.S. and Britain. He also participated in the Combined Policy Committee overseeing the atomic bomb project. In 1944, he was diagnosed with aplastic anemia and died at Walter Reed Hospital on November 4, 1944. Sir John Grier Dill's rare burial in Arlington reflects the deep respect and admiration earned by many American military and political leaders. Following Dill's death on November 4, 1944, Marshall released a statement noting Dill's vital contributions to the British-American war effort. Marshall said,
"I know of no man who has made a greater contribution to that most vital requirement to an Allied victory, the complete military cooperation between British and American forces. His death signals a loss of no less magnitude for the United States than for his own country, for the direction of his matchless efforts towards combined victory gave him strength to lay aside all other considerations."
Marshall expressed more personal feelings in a letter to Lady Dill, writing,
"I know that it is not necessary for me to tell you of my distress of mind at this moment. Officially, the United States has suffered a heavy loss, and I personally have lost a dear friend, unique in my lifetime, and never to be out of my mind.
So here we have the final resting place of Audie L. Murphy, Medal of Honor winner. He was also an actor after the fact. And yesterday was his birthday.
Murphy's Medal of Honor citation reads as follows. Second Lieutenant Murphy commanded Company B, which was attacked by 6 tanks and waves of infantry. Second Lieutenant Murphy ordered his men to withdraw to prepared positions in a woods, while he remained forward at his command post and continued to give fire directions to the artillery by telephone. Behind him, to his right, one of our tank destroyers received a direct hit and began to burn. Its crew withdrew to the woods. Second Lieutenant Murphy continued to direct artillery fire, which killed large numbers of the advancing enemy infantry. With the enemy tanks abreast of his position, Second Lieutenant Murphy climbed on the burning tank destroyer, which was in danger of blowing up at any moment, and employed its .50 caliber machine gun against the enemy. He was alone and exposed to German fire from 3 sides, but his deadly fire killed dozens of Germans and caused their infantry attack to waver. The enemy tanks, losing infantry support, began to fall back. For an hour, the Germans tried every available weapon to eliminate Second Lieutenant Murphy, but he continued to hold his position and wiped out a squad which was trying to creep up unnoticed on his right flank. Germans reached as close as 10 yards, only to be mowed down by his fire. He received a leg wound, but ignored it, and continued the single-handed fight until his ammunition was exhausted. He then made his way to his company, refused medical attention, and organized the company in a counterattack which forced the Germans to withdraw. His directing of artillery fire wiped out many of the enemy. He killed or wounded about 50. Second Lieutenant Murphy's indomitable courage and his refusal to give an inch of ground saved his company from possible encirclement and destruction, and enabled it to hold the woods which had been the enemy's objective.
So all of these individuals are buried together as they all died together in Vietnam, October 8th, 1967. Wow. And this is the Spanish-American War Memorial. It says, "To the soldiers and sailors of the United States who gave their lives for their country in the War of 1898 to 1899 with Spain. This monument is dedicated in sorrow, gratitude, and pride by the National Society of the Colonial Dames of America in the name of all the women of the nation, 1902. Now it said the memorial behind us, they have 4 cannons here, which are all from the Spanish, captured from the Spanish-American War. The 2 in the center that we're going to see were actually fired during that conflict. So it's very interesting to see them. So like I said, these 2 here in the center were actually fired during the war itself before they were captured. And then you have this smaller here. It is unknown or unverified whether these were actually fired. So in Arlington, you'll see a lot of these personal headstones. Well, up until 2017, it was an option for the sponsors to donate headstones, families to purchase headstones, rather than having the standard. However, in 2017, due to maintenance concerns and future space availability, it was determined that those would no longer be available. So everyone currently will get the standard stone, which are not small, by the way. They look very small, but they are actually made of Vermont marble, which weigh 250 pounds each. So this is Major General Leonard Wood. He was a captain of the Medical Corps, colonel of the 1st Voluntary Cavalry. He was the military governor of Cuba. He was chief of staff of the Army. He was the governor general of the Philippines. He was born in 1860 and died in 1927, and he is here with his wife, Louise Adriana. Now, what's special to me about General Wood is that there is a Army military post that bears his name, Fort Leonard Wood, and that is actually where I did my basic training when I went into the Army. They're not good memories there simply because I left South Alabama, where it was still moderate temperatures, to somewhere in Missouri that I had no clue actually existed. It was frozen, rocky, and for this southern boy at the time, I was very miserable. So General, thank you very much for your service and sacrifice. And I apologize I didn't enjoy my time at your post, sir.
ceremony that you are about to witness is the changing of the guard. In keeping with the dignity of this ceremony, it is requested that everyone remain silent and attentive. Thank you.
correct. Order. Action. Go.
Ready! On! Reason! On! Right! Shoulder! On! Up! Right! On! Forward! On!
Excuse me, folks. Do you mind stepping aside? The guard's about to walk through here in just a second.
Down! Up! All out!
Okay, what we're about to see now is the tomb of the unknown Civil War soldiers. You know, there are estimated 2,000 unknown Civil War soldiers here in Arlington National Cemetery. But this is the monument to the unknown Civil War soldiers. And we're atop here at Arlington House, and we'll have some views here in a second. But first, let's take a look at the monument. So how beautiful is this? You can see the Lincoln Memorial down here, Jefferson's over here, and the Washington Monument there. And then back over this way across on the other side of those trees is the Pentagon. So very beautiful up here, very peaceful.
Pierre-Charles L'Enfant, born August 2nd, 1754 in Paris, France, was a French-born American military engineer and architect. He trained at the Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture in France, served in the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War, and is best known for designing the original layout of Washington, D.C. L'Enfant never received full payment or recognition during his lifetime for the work he did. He died poor and was buried on a friend's farm in Maryland. In 1909, however, his remains were moved to Arlington National Cemetery, where he now rests in honor, overlooking the Capitol he designed.
So here we have the burial of Mary Randolph.
Mary Randolph, born in 1762 and died in 1828, was a prominent Virginian known for being the first person buried at Arlington Estate, long before it became Arlington National Cemetery. She was a cousin of Mary Custis, wife of Robert E. Lee, and part of Virginia's elite Randolph family, related to Thomas Jefferson. Randolph is often remembered for writing the first Southern cookbook entitled The Virginia Housewife in 1824, and was one of the first American cookbooks. It promoted recipes that reflected both European traditions and enslaved African culinary contribution. The book included early American recipes like cornmeal-based dishes, Southern fried chicken, and okra stews.
So here we have the only son to survive to adulthood of President Abraham Lincoln. This is Robert Todd Lincoln. He was born in 1843. He died in 1926.
Robert Lincoln was not just the surviving son to famous parents. He made a name for himself outside of the Lincoln name. He earned his law degree from Harvard, was a U.S. Army captain and aide to General Ulysses S. Grant during the Civil War. Later, he served as Secretary of War under Presidents James Garfield and Chester A. Arthur. He served as Minister to the United Kingdom, appointed by President Benjamin Harrison, and served as U.S. Ambassador to the Court of St. James's, strengthening U.S.-British relations.
Beautiful. And he's here with his wife, Mary Harlan Lincoln, 1846 to 1937. All right, here we have Bliss. And you military types may be thinking, oh, the namesake of Fort Bliss. This is indeed not him. I say again, not him. This is Tasker Howard Bliss, General United States Army, 1856 to November 9th, 1930. And he was also, most noteworthy, a signatory on the Treaty of Versailles as a representative of the United States. And he's here with his wife, Eleanor Emma Anderson. Well, that concludes Arlington National Cemetery. It was quite nice. It's hot today, but there was a lot to see. And as you saw, we got to see the ceremony and the changing of the guard. Yeah, it was overall a great experience. I'm glad I had the opportunity to be here, and I'm glad you were here with me. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share these videos. Trying to grow the channel. Thank you very much for being here. You guys have a blessed day, and we'll see you on our next walk.
Thank you for watching Cemetery Walks. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click those share, like, and notification buttons to stay up to date with my latest videos and posts.